tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough
9
to
to
drive
5.
you crazy and you let it. 9 to 5. For service and devotion, you would think that I would deserve a fair promotion. Want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me. They let you dream just to watch them shatter. You're just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. In the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in and the tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and you never get the credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you think about it, don't you? It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it. And you spend your life putting money in his wallet. 9 to 5, oh, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you dream about it, don't you? It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it. And you spend your life putting money in your wallet. 9 to 5, working 9 to 5, just working 9 to 5.
All right. Can y'all hear me okay? I am using a different microphone, so let me know if it's too low, too much, or what. I want to welcome in Smiley, and we got Dawn, and we got Samantha, and whoever else is lurking around. Y'all welcome in. Don't be shy and participate. I have been following this case really closely, and this really hits a lot of us women in several different ways. And I really think it's not discussed enough, and I'm glad that this case is being talked about and it is a national case because attention needs to be brought to what actually matters when it comes to postpartum and women's mental health. So definitely express y'all's opinions. I want to hear what everybody has to say. I like Smiley. When I say, I mean, I agree with Smiley when I say I do pity any mother, especially who has taken the life of her children. You can have support for the children and want justice for the children that were taken, away too soon. But you can also have support for Lindsay Clancy and her mental health because that could have honestly been any one of us who was in a weak mental state during PPD after having any of our children and being over-medicated and being with clinicians and medical professionals that just don't know what they're doing and just are prescribing meds because big pharmas are pushing them to say, hey, push this meds onto your clients, right? Or push these meds onto your people because they just want that bit extra money, right? For pushing a certain medicine that's really honestly not needed. It's just I don't feel it's talked about enough. And you can, it's like I said, you can support both sides of this at the same time. Thanks, AJ. Thanks. There's a couple things that I want to talk about. I know that Patrick Clancy, the husband, and feel free to chime in, you guys, with anything. So Patrick Clancy is another topic that I feel, person of interest, in my opinion, that I feel was not investigated enough. I think when Patrick said, "Oh, this is what Lindsay said to me," there was no if, ands, or buts about it because it was her husband and he just made it all look like that she did it. All the evidence was pointing to her. I honestly feel like that the investigation into Patrick was not enough and did not wasn't looked into enough. It was a really sloppy job, a really sloppy. And yes, I absolutely love Mr. Reddington. He reminds me of my papa. I get really strong papa vibes, like very masculine, like he's a protective father, protective grandpa, protective husband. And his wife, right? His wife is a nurse. So he knows exactly how protocols go, the mental states, like he knows everything when it comes to the medical field pretty much. And if not, just from what he's picked up throughout the years from his wife. His wife has experience. The healthcare system is a joke in the US, going through a situation right now. Yes, Samantha, I have been debating on whether to talk about this or not, on what I've been going through for like the past 8 or 9 months, but wanted to give you surgery without showing you why. You got injured Thursday, but the doctor wanted to do surgery. Yes, that's exactly like there's just a lot of doctors wanting to prescribe without actually doing their work to see what the problem is. You asked to see the CT scan and the x-rays, but that is so weird to me. Hey Michelle, hey, how are you? That is so weird to me. I absolutely cannot fathom or understand how a doctor can refuse to show you your own CT and x-ray scans. That's crazy. Because I mean, what if you wanted a second opinion? There's no way he can deny you a second opinion. That's absolutely bonkers. Yes, I that's what I'm saying, Michelle. Like this case has really taken me in from the very beginning. And then they questioned why I refused to. Well, gee, I wonder why. Yeah, I know, right? Common sense there, Samantha, right? Yeah, that's what Don's saying. They have to show you. There are a lot of men involved in this case. Not one of them has ever. That's another thing, right? Like typically you wouldn't mind anybody to have an opinion on whatever the subject or topic may be, but in this case, this is definitely a topic for women, right? Because it deals with postpartum depression, PP, postpartum psychosis, and I don't mean to be gender biased or sexist, but this honestly has nothing to do with the men's mental state, right? This has to do with the women. It's absolutely 100% the women right now. You're uncomfortable watching anything with it. Yes, I know. I know. Yep, exactly. They can't refuse to show you anything. I mean, there's nothing that prevents them from showing you. I knew what you meant, Smiley. I gotcha. I don't want pills. I want the yes, that's how I would be. Exactly. So I'm going through a situation right now. I'm probably not going to talk about it in full because I don't feel like people need to know this part of my business. But I've been going through a situation to where I needed to reach out for some mental help from things that have been going on in my real life. And I'm in the process of doing it now. But it's like I feel like there's just so much red tape to get mental health. Like it's just like, okay, do you have insurance? Do you have mental health coverage through your insurance? Okay, so you get like 6 free mental health sessions at no cost, but we have to make sure that we have all your information. We have to make sure you are being seen for the right thing. We have to make sure this and make sure that. I think there's just too much red tape involved. I think if you need to be seen for your mental health, I think you should just automatically be seen. Like I have to wait, I think a whole month just to get an appointment to talk to somebody. So it's unreal to me that the mental health, even just everything is just so unreal because of big pharma. And nobody wants to actually look into the problem. They just want to prescribe meds. It's so much to get into a therapist. Yes, exactly, Michelle. I'm just trying to get into, to get rid of some things that I just need to talk about, right? And so that I can feel better as myself. Because unless you get better as yourself as a person and feel like you're on the right track for yourself, you can't help anybody else, get better and move forward with anything unless you are. So, oh no, here's the kicker. You got x-rays In Florida and Alabama, why was your X-ray sent to what? What? That's crazy, Samantha. Have you thought about how you might have to be looking into a lawyer for this? That one so-called psychiatrist that he was questioning yesterday would not get the answers. Yes, Dr. Mack and that other guy, I absolutely don't understand why they're just beating around the bush. Why can't they just answer the yes and no questions? It's pretty easy and simple. You're gonna lay down and listen? Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Smiley. They want you to do therapy and meds all the time. I know, and it's like sometimes you don't even need the meds. You just need therapy. Like you just need somebody to listen and then express, and you want feedback from that. That's what I'm saying on that. That's what I'm saying. Sent to Pakistan to look like that's kind of crazy. You can the hospital calling for dad. That is the wildest thing. I don't think that there's any reason why they would need to send anything to Pakistan to be read because only your doctors and other doctors in his group or whatever should even be looking at them. After business hours, girl. There's something yes. That's yeah. You definitely need to get that looked into. Possible lawyer too. But let's see. They just had day 20, I believe, in court today, and the doctor at the end, I was literally falling asleep listening to his testimony. It's almost like he was trying to read from a script, but he couldn't remember what he was supposed to say. So there were so many long pauses and ums between him just answering anything. And I don't understand why the answers are so long in this case. I don't understand why the prosecution, the Commonwealth, right, is allowed to let these answers and statements go on for so long when there's an easier explanation to everything. You think the vote thus far is real? Yeah, let me see. I haven't seen the vote yet. Yeah. Yep. Keep looking. Absolutely. Um, can we please not have, I'd rather not have that in the chat. Can you just not talk about that, please? Thank you. Dawn, I'm gonna make you a mod. I just want to make sure that we stick to topic. I don't want anything that's not topic. If we can just keep this to topic, that would be great. Um, that would be amazing. I'm gonna make Samantha one. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna make some mods here. And I'm gonna make Smiley one. I agree, though. I do agree forage reform. I do agree with that statement about he is despicable. I do agree. Hey, Tiff and Teddy. Okay. All right, so I got some mods now. Um, so yes, we are discussing Lindsay Clancy case. Yes, day 20, and I swear Red is shredding them up. Red is shredding them up. Did you see how he got them, the doctor to say that Patrick Clancy told him what she supposedly said instead of reading and listening to the 911 call. Did you guys see that? That's crazy. There's so much inconsistency in this case. That would be just enough for a mistrial alone. Not to mention, right, the Commonwealth side prosecution bringing up things like Catholic wise with the religion and Catholic being it's a mortal sin, right, to do these things. Religion has nothing to do with what this case is. So them trying to bring religion and things being a sin is absolutely out of here. It's out of this world that you would even bring that in there. It's like they want a mistrial or something. I'm so confused about it. No, it's okay. It's okay, hun. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. I just want to kind of stick to topic tonight. Thank you. You brought up the health. It is. It's terrible on both sides. It's getting terrible on both sides. You want to know how he supposedly told Patrick? Yes, exactly. When all she could literally do was grunt. All Lindsay could do was grunt. There was no words coming out of her mouth. None. That's why I can't watch it. Yeah, it does. There's so many rage baits. It makes me like just want to bang my head sometimes. And it makes me want to just shout things that I know nobody can hear, right? But it just makes me want to shout things. I watched a really good video about it today from Bruce Rivers. Bruce Rivers? Huh. I haven't heard of that name. I have to check it out. Yeah, my husband is he's all into it with me, but I'm kind of into it more than he is, of course, and he's just like, and I'll tell him about it. He's like, he's and he agrees with a lot of the things that I say because he's seeing it from my perspective as well as a guy, and he's absolutely on my side, and he's on the mental health side because he suffers from mental health as well as a guy, so he completely understands. I mean, he can't completely understand with it being PPD, but he understands. And how long did it take him before he went into the basement to look for the babies? Yep, that's another one. He's an attorney. It gave me a different. Oh, okay. I'll definitely, yeah, I'll have to check it out. Let's see here. Okay, there were some things. Okay, so there are some psychological points that I want to bring up here. So from the defense side, we've got the mental disorder was present at the time of the offenses, right? And that's another thing that the defense, or the offense rather, is trying to say that didn't happen. So the defense is trying to prove that the disorder was present at the time. The offense is trying to prove that she didn't have any kind of mental disorders going on at the time that would cause her to have all of this. The last testimony I watched today was the chaplain from the hospital. Oh, you're at the chaplain? Yeah. I think the chaplain was the one that I couldn't really understand that much because of her accent, if I'm correct. They had her on a lot of medication. I think we all have a level of mental health issues. It's just, yeah, I would agree with that, Michelle. Okay, I would definitely agree with that. I was so confused how he worked from home if the internet was down. Yes, I mean, there's just so many inconsistencies. Like, how are we left to not question things? Let's see, another point is, so the offense, the Commonwealth, is trying to say the defendant planned the offense in his advance, right? Premeditated. I don't believe any of this was premeditated. I think the intrusive voices in her head, I mean, okay, I think the intrusive voices in her head were the voices in her head, but I also believe that Patrick has involvement in all of this. I'm not saying that he murdered the children or he killed the children, right? But I am saying that there is some type of involvement, there is some type of accountability that Patrick needs to take here as the father and as the husband. She was on, I think she was on 3 Pams, like diazepam. Hang on one second, let me look real quick. Let me see here. And I'm looking unless you guys can look for it faster than I can. Okay, so in the toxicology report, She had a cocktail of 6 prescription medications in her blood and urine. She had Ativan, Valium, Seroquel, Lami Lamictal, Remeron, and Trazodone. That's the 6 that were present in her blood and urine at the time of that toxicology. That's not including all of the other medications that she tried previously that was that was already messing with her. Yeah, she was on a lot of things prior to what she had been taken off previously. I'm sure there's a better list. I just have to find it. It's the one the pharmacist didn't quite. Yeah, I mean, you would think the pharmacist would question because I know that whenever my husband went to get a new stomach medication for, his acid reflux, because he also has unstable angina, that the pharmacist actually stopped him from getting the stomach medication filled because it was going to interact with his heart medication. So I don't know why a pharmacist wouldn't have said anything either. I have a feeling there could be a huge medical. Exactly. Well, you do know, Tiff, that she has who is that attorney? She is the blonde lady, and she has a great track record fighting civil suits against medical professionals and malpractice. I forget her name, but she's a beast. She's just like Reddington. She's a beast. Let me see if I can find her name real quick because she's been in the courtroom watching. So Lindsay does have a civil suit coming out against the medical professionals. I just gotta find her name. What is her name? Oh, she's got blonde short hair. Rosemary I think her name it's Rosemary Scapicchio. Rosemary Scapicchio, and from what I hear, she's the best of the best. Hey, Machete, how are you? Do you agree with postpartum psychosis or just overdrugged? I don't know if I'm down with the psychosis because I don't understand how you would get to the psychosis, but I do know she was drugged to high heaven. So, I mean, if that states of being out of your mind and psychosis, then that would be psychosis. But like I said, I don't know what the actual definition would be postpartum psychosis, so I can't really say. But I do know she was on hella meds. Yeah. Isn't her ex suing? I'm I'm not sure if he is. And if he's suing people, I don't know what he's suing for because I don't even think he has a case to be suing anybody. All those meds and how they work. Seroquel only as a strong med, 0.25 knocked me out. Yeah, she was on some strong stuff. And I know that she, as a nurse, because she's a labor and delivery nurse, I know that she was saying she didn't want to start taking benzos because she didn't want to get addicted to that stuff and be dependent. But they just insisted on giving her pretty much letting her try everything. A little chemical change in her body on all those meds could create, yes, exactly. Exactly. Because yeah, your your mind, your brain, and the chemicals and the hormones that you have, they all interact with each other and they all expect a chemical balance. And then when you do medication, especially ones that are man-made, it messes everything up in your head. It can mess everything up. All the yep, probably it probably did feel like a it's like she said, right? She said that she felt like she was watching herself do the action. She was like almost like an out of body experience is what she said. You just talked about it again. Yeah, the Seroquel. Give me one moment here. Okay. It is. It's very sad. What were her thyroid levels? Let me look, actually. Let me look at what her thyroid levels are. They never actually were tested by the medical providers who prescribed her psychiatric medication prior to the incident. So, yeah, because I remember the defense psychologist said that there was never a test done, and if they would have done a test, it would have shown everything. But prior to the incident, they never tested her thyroid. Yep. I'm sure it is for some, but my grandma isn't having behavioral issue. Just sleep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because I just looked that up and yeah, it was never tested. Her thyroid levels were never tested. And then another thing of another defense point is the defendant was experiencing psychotic symptoms, including delusion and auditory hallucinations. And also the defendant believed the voices were commanding and instructing him and instructing harm, right? Now, I don't know what part of all of this, if I had a friend, right? If I had a friend that was telling me all this of what she was feeling that she was telling everybody, that would be means to be hospitalized, right? That's means to be hospitalized. But then once I listened to everything in this trial, she actually went. This is what blew my mind. She actually went to an inpatient to get inpatient help at a hospital, and they turned her down because she didn't have a suicide ideation plan. Like, are you kidding me? How many people do you know that are actually successful at committing self-harm, right? To a point of death, that they don't have a plan. They don't tell anybody. It just happens. I am just so confused by all of this. Since when do we need a suicide ideation plan to get help? Night, Dawn. You have a good rest night. I appreciate you. Yeah, she was on Zoloft. Yep, she was on Zoloft. Yep, yep, that's the one. Let's see, what's some more points over here? So the defendant also lacked the capacity to conform behavior to the requirements of the law. The defendant has a history of mental health treatment. Expert testimony supports that the defendant's mental illness impaired the judgment and reality testing. That is true. There is expert testimony that supports the mental that supports Lindsay's mental illness. The defendant's behavior was consistent with symptoms of the mental disorder, and the defense is seeking an acquittal by reason of insanity, which I believe and I think she should not be held criminally responsible because she was not of sound mind. She was not of sound mind, and it's clear and evident, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, that she was not of sound mind. Let's see, and then the offense, the Commonwealth is going to say the defendant took steps to obtain a weapon, um, which honestly, um, where's other than right it being wrapped around the children's necks, which I still don't know, like, I still don't understand how she even got everything. Was that even discussed? Like, I feel like we're missing pieces here to everything. I really feel like we're missing pieces here. Sorry, but he's so out of it, I can't pick. No worries, Dawn. Talk to you later. Let's see. The defendant was able to distinguish right from wrong. I do not believe she was able to distinguish right from wrong. I do not. She was so medicated. She was getting auditory and visual hallucinations. She was getting both hallucinations. I can never sit on a jury. I'm too angry at her actions, though intentional, not spur of the moment breakdown. No, I get it. I get it. Let's see here. There is evidence of malingering or exaggeration of symptoms. Okay, so I don't believe there is evidence of malingering or exaggeration of her symptoms. I think everything that has been displayed by her prior up to what's going on now has not been an exaggeration. It's been completely how everything's unfolded and how it is. Oops, sorry, I meant to hide that. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry, I'm just like expressing and venting my opinions on this case. So I've been thinking about it for a month now or more, and it's just really gets to me. The offense argues that the defendant had the mental capacity to understand and control the actions at the time of the offense. No, I don't believe so. And did you guys of of course, of course, of course. It's it's not really much of a coverage, but I do like talking about it. So just feel free to put your, 2 cents in. But and I also want to say, I don't know if you guys like follow a lot of the rabbit holes and all of the things going on YouTube with this case. I mean, YouTube on TikTok with this case. But I do listen to a lot of things that are on TikTok that are with this case, and I did come across someone that was a a dental hygienist, and she was looking at the photo that Patrick Clancy had given them in regards to them making a snowman supposedly that day, right? That had the kids there smiling in front of the snowman, and she pointed out that the teeth in that picture had not been developed yet on the bottom, to whereas one of the more recent pictures of Dawson that had been taken were where you could see how he was getting those bottom teeth in. So the picture that Patrick is showing everybody that was supposed to have been the day before or the night of how everything happening isn't true, is not true. The picture that he has given everybody, supposedly, right? Allegedly, it isn't even the up to date. It's an older picture, whereas one that we have seen recently, and you can see the whole bottom rows of his teeth are more recent. So there's just quite, no matter what, she is a mother who took the lives of her kids. I abhor that, but she has to live with her actions for the rest of her life, and I feel for her. No, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. If she took, I agree with you. She, yes, definitely took the lives of her children, and she should definitely pay the consequences for that. And I do support anything, and justice for the children, but I also support Lindsay's mental health because she definitely was failed. They were both actually failed. The children were failed and she was failed because Lindsay didn't get the help that she needed and was supposed to get, that she was begging for, and that resulted ultimately in the untimely deaths of her children. Logan, but I can't make a conspiracy or rush. No, no, that's all right. No, I mean, yeah, if you can't, that's fine. How the fuck? Yeah, did X? Yes, that's also another thing that I did not understand is how he could move on, get married, and then have another baby within, what is it, 3 years of everything happening? Even if she planned it for weeks, it doesn't mean that she wasn't psychotic the whole time. Postpartum psychosis is very, yes, yes. Exactly. And it's funny when you go back and you're listening to these psychiatrists or these psychologists talk about how they recently met with her, like as far as like what, June or January of this year, when it's already been 3 years post the killings, right? Excuse me. And they're like, oh well, now she's this and now she seems this. Well, you're the ones talking about how things are missing the very vital facts of how she was in her state of mind at the time of and immediately right after, because then you can definitely see the difference in her mental behavior and how she even acts around everybody. I do think sometimes it's just too little too late when it comes to these people trying to diagnose her. But did she tell her husband these deep feelings? Was it her first time about killing? Apologize, but no, 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 you're fine. So from what she did talk with her husband about how she was having those intrusive thoughts, and she didn't feel safe, or she didn't feel that the children were safe. Um, I don't know when it was the first time I don't remember when the first time was about the killing, But I do know that pretty much everyone was aware that she was having intrusive thoughts, like her mother-in-law, her mother, her sister. I think a couple of her close coworkers knew how much of a hard time that she was having. But it's just sad. Most of the time, if the woman believes that the children need to die to protect them or save them somehow, it doesn't make any sense because yeah, exactly. Agreed. Agreed there, Momo. Absolutely agree. I don't like to hear from psychologists in this case. They are not, yes. And I was literally just saying that with my husband. That I feel like every expert witness that the Commonwealth has come up with to, be expert witnesses are a freaking sham. I feel like they're just slapping an expert stamp on these people and just letting them talk a bunch of bullshit. I don't feel like they have anybody's real mental health in mind when they're giving these statements. I feel like it's just a bunch of bull crap. Eh, there's too many on the Commonwealth, like I don't recall or I don't remember or some other crap, right? When it's not that hard to go back and look at your notes, right? The night of before you have to be on up on the stand or the day before I have to be up on the stand. It's not hard to go back and review your notes and to say that you don't recall. I think anytime anybody says that, especially when it comes medical wise, I think you're hiding something. I think you're trying to lie. So when the medical professionals on the Commonwealth side have been saying that, I don't believe anything that they say. I don't believe anything they say. She should never have been left alone. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. The ex ones. Yeah, I remember hearing that too, that he dropped her off at an appointment and then went skiing. Kind of crazy. But I listen to this case every day. I pretty much listen to almost everything that I come across on TikTok as well having to do with the case. And there's the inconsistencies, the lack of work put up into the investigation onto Patrick Clancy as well is off the chain. So many Lindsay and her children were failed. The whole thing breaks my heart, even if the hubby was a cheater. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Even though the husband's a piece of crap, right? He didn't deserve to lose his children. I do agree. Even though he was a piece of crap, he did not deserve to lose his children. I do. I agree with that. All right, y'all. Sorry, I just got off work at like 10:30 since I'm doing this new work from home job and I got my set hours now. So I just wanted to get up and talk about this a little bit before I went to bed and got tired because it had just been bothering me and I felt like I just needed to express it out loud and just let everybody know. And I hear what everybody else is saying too because I completely agree with it as well. Like I said, I support both sides. Absolutely do. Um, and I just hope justice is rightly served. And if it's not served now, maybe it'll be served later. But yeah, definitely reach out to me, y'all, if in the comments or whatever if you guys want to discuss anything or something, and I'll be down for it. And I appreciate every one of you coming in here and being here tonight. It's been fun. I've missed just hanging out and talking about something that we might have in common. I have not watched Chad. Well, yeah, there's a couple. I'm actually gonna write these names down that I need to go. Oh, what was that one that Tiff said? Hold on, I gotta scroll up. Where's my pen? Where is my pen? Didn't she tell her mother-in-law that she was? Yeah, she did. She absolutely did. Yeah. Okay, Chad Dorman. Let me write that down. And I gotta write that other one down too. Better they included some women who have yes. And that's listen, y'all gonna get me talking about this like the last couple men doctors and including Dr. Mack, the one that said an episiotomy was a tear. I about flipped. I about flipped when this doctor said an episiotomy was a tear. An episiotomy is a surgical cut to prevent major tearing in the event of the birth. So when the head comes out, it prevents major tearing. That's what an episiotomy is for. And the fact that this man, that's a doctor, couldn't differentiate between an episiotomy and a tear is beyond me. He should be not on any expert witness list. No expert testimony should come from these people. They don't know a thing. They don't know a thing. Yeah, the mother-in-law did really great. And I gotta find that other guy that Tiff was talking about. Hold on, y'all. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just looking for what Tiff said that dude's name is. No, where is it? I'll message Tiff later and ask her. Those men, yes, exactly. He did. He did say that. And I literally about flipped when he said that. Even Reddington knows even Reddington knows, right? And that was absolutely insane. The internet was flipping their shit over it, all over it. These men that are doctors have no idea what they're talking about, is what it seems like to me. And it seems to be trending. It seems to be a trending thing. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get off of here. It's already midnight for me, and I have work. But yeah, like I said, just reach out to me. Leave some comments below. Let me know your opinions. And yeah, we will definitely need to be doing this again soon. So maybe after, if not tomorrow, maybe the next day, and we will talk about this again. But until then, thank you guys for coming out and supporting me and showing up and participating. I appreciate all of that. And actually, let me go ahead and do some gift subscriptions real quick while I'm here. Let's see. Michelle K, Shot of Poison, Action Slacks Music, Trisha Talks, and Liberty Farmer. Congrats. All right, y'all. So y'all have a good rest of your night, and we will definitely talk more later. And um, justice for them babies, and justice for Lindsay Clancy and her mental health. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's the closing arguments already. Oh my God. I feel like almost where's the time gone at the same time? I guess because everything's just been so crazy, but I'm definitely gonna catch it. I'm definitely gonna catch it. Even though I do have to work, I'm gonna catch it. But y'all have a good one, and I'll catch y'all later. Good night, everybody. Thank y'all.